What qualifications do you need to have for you to call yourself a stylist?
If you have an eye for detail, fashion, you know colors, you know how to mix and match.
When you tell me you have an idea in your head, there has to be money coming out of it, right?
Please. Hi guys, my name is Yudee and you're welcome to Level Up. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that I'm very particularly interested in, fashion. And we have our guests here in form of Miss Yudee, fashion and lifestyle content creator. How you doing?
I'm fine. Hi.
Good?
I'm good.
You look lovely, by the way.
Thank you.
Representing your brand.
As usual.
As usual. All right. And we have Isabella, a fashion brand strategist and stylist. How you doing today?
Fine, thank you.
Fantastic. So let's delve right into it. So, Miss Yudee, tell us about who Miss Yudee is.
Well, my name is Udwak and my Instagram handle is Miss Yudee, which the short form is Yudee, which my family and friends call me. And I love fashion. I always have. From when I was a child, when they give me money for Christmas, I would just save mine and buy a lot of things. And my mom would think I had to have taken money somewhere else. Because if I had 2K, I would make sure that I could get as much as I can from that money. So it has always been my passion, and that's where I am now.
Okay, so how did you get into fashion and styling?
So because it came naturally to me, whenever I worked in the bank at some point, and when I worked there, even as cheap as my clothes were at the time, people would always ask, where did you get this? Where did you get that? And initially, I was silly enough to just show them where I got it from. But at some point, I was like,
You can monetize this.
I can get money from this thing. And so that's how it started. So I started by telling, you can put this and put this together. And I'm like, I don't even know where to get it. And then I started getting it for them and putting it together for them and charging for them. And then that's how it started.
And it became a thing.
Yes.
And then how did you get into the social media aspect of it?
Well, I always took pictures. I mean, even then in church, they knew me. When church closes, you would find me somewhere to one wall taking a picture. Yeah. So when Instagram started, I just started posting every Sunday. That's how it was. Because, I mean, there was no other time or anywhere else I used to go except on Sundays. And so I started posting. And the more I posted, the more people were interested. And then COVID came, and that was all I did every single day. And so by the time COVID was ending, or while we were even in the lockdown period, people were already sending me money and booking me for after COVID. And so that's when I knew that I had to, like, this is just money. And so I resigned from my banking job, and it has been fun and money ever since.
Fun and money, I like that. I feel like as bad as COVID was, it helped discover a lot of people and their talents. So would you say that COVID actually helped propel you, or it gave you time for you to actually focus on that talent?
I mean, I would say I'm a COVID baby, because all that I am now...
I don't want to say that.
Well, I don't like to say that, but I think that's kind of true, because I didn't really have time to stop and smell the roses and think about stuff, because from the time I moved to Lagos, it had just been move, work. And so COVID gave me the time to sit down, think about my life, the things that I love, what I was passionate about. And it also helped that because everybody was at home, we had enough time to think about things. And so whatever it was that I put out on social media at that time, people were bored as much as I was, and were jumping on it and all. So as soon as I got my first paycheck during COVID, I was like, if everybody thinks the world is ending, and they're willing to pay me some money hoping that it doesn't end, then by the time COVID is done, the world is not ending, which means that there's a very high chance that money starts. And so I continued.
I like that logic. Just in case the world doesn't end, let's do this. All right, great. So Isabella, tell us more about what you do. You're a fashion brand strategist. And what does that entail?
So fashion brand strategy is basically thinking of taking the brand from where it currently is to where it needs to be.
Okay.
Right. So growing up, my mom used to be a fashion designer, and I watched her business like crumble under the stress of trying to figure everything out. So when I graduated from school, I realized that there were a lot of fashion business owners that they were just particular about making the clothes. They didn't have business sense. They didn't know what to do beyond sewing really amazing styles and, just posting on social media. So I had a few friends that knew that I like making money. When you tell me you have an idea in your head, there has to be money coming out of it, right?
Please, please.
So for me, that was how I went into brand strategy, like helping people, majorly fashion designers, because I just really enjoy fashion business and the beautiful styles and all of that. So helping designers sit down, draw out a business plan for their brand. Okay, what's your marketing plan? What's your business plan? What's the strategy for the quarter and all of that? So that's really what brand strategy is all about.
Guys, scan the barcode on the screen to get a free style consultation with Miss Yudee, courtesy of Leadway. So, how did you start out? So you said you realized that a lot of creatives in the fashion industry don't understand the business, which is a problem amongst creatives, right? Which is why they have to employ people like you to handle the business side of their work. So how did you get into? Who was your first client? How did you get into it?
Okay, my first client, very funny. When I finished from school, I was waiting for NYSC and I didn't want to sit at home because I hate being idle. So
Yeah,
I just, I saw this fashion brand that I'd always liked and I just walked into this store and I was like, oh, hi, good afternoon. I like what you guys do. What can I do for you? And then their social media manager had quit that week. So she was like, oh, there's an opening social media. Do you want to do it? I'm like, I don't know if I can do social media managing. I know I can do something else, but can I just come in and then do my thing? And if it works, we can make this an official thing. And she was like, okay, no problem. Come into the brand. And then I started working there. I came in as a social media manager, but in like 2 weeks, she realized like, oh, social media wasn't really my thing.
Yeah.
So I started sitting down, creating plans for the business. While I was with them, they launched a bespoke line, launched a luxury line, launched a fashion academy. So, I mean, I had to like launch all of that for them. And I just realized like, okay, this is really a thing that I can do beyond on paper. So that was really how I got into brand strategy. I mean, as at then, it wasn't really called brand strategy. It was like administrative work. So I was the admin lead in the company. And I think COVID actually really helped because when COVID came in, I started to take a lot of online classes and I realized like, okay, brand strategy really is a thing that you can do and niche it down to the fashion space. So that was really how I got into it.
So there's something that you just said that I think a lot of people need to understand and know. There's a difference between having a skill set and being audacious about it, right? So you were audacious, bold enough to walk into, which is something I don't think I've ever done. But that thing, it works. When you have audacity, you know what you're doing, you walk into a place and tell them, this is what I can do for you. It can propel you from 0 to 100.
Yes.
Awesome. So how does styling work? Like, what kind of qualifications do you need to have for you to call yourself a stylist?
I think first of all, you have to have an eye for detail because in as much as it looks like it's just clothes, it's not just clothes. You need to know colors, how they pair together, how they work with skin types, how different things work together. So even in learning, for example, I would say I've learned from life and then whatever courses I've taken along the way, I had to have had that eye naturally to now hone them, by learning the skills. So if you have an eye for detail, fashion, you know colors, you know how to mix and match, color blocking and stuff like that, then you're on your way to being, yes, because there's always a difference when a stylist puts an outfit together and when someone who just doesn't have any background in it, because you're not just putting black and white together, you're making or creating a story out of a look or an outfit.
Okay, so do you think why do people need stylists?
I mean, they say dress the way you want to wear dressed.
True.
Because if you don't, everybody wants to look good. And there's something that I used to say, there's a fashion designer in everybody, even people who are not interested in fashion. And you can try that out, like when a regular, let's say my dad, for example, wants to make senator with a tailor. He doesn't necessarily know anything about fashion, but by the time he gets there and fashion designer is saying, let's put black and blue, he may not know anything about fashion, but he may know that he doesn't like royal blue and he likes navy blue. So somehow, somewhere, there's that need for people to look good. And if a stylist can bring that to life and not stress you, because the things that come naturally to us, it can be very difficult for other people. So that's where a stylist comes into play.
Okay. So it's important also for a stylist to know the kind of clients they're dealing with, especially their body types. Because I've worn some things and I've seen some people like, I want to wear this thing, and I'm like,
So share a story. I've had these issues with people who make my clothes and their clients. So most of the time when I wear clothes, there's a way that it looks on me that it doesn't look on other people. And I've been accused, or designers have been accused of being partial to me and not making the exact same thing for someone else. But in truth, that's not the case. It's just because a lot of people don't know their body type and what fits their body type. For example, if you have big up and a smaller down, there are certain kind of clothes that you shouldn't wear. Not that they're stopping you from wearing them, but it just doesn't look good on your body type. So I think that a lot of people also need to learn and know their body type, know what fits their body type, and then wear those things. And they won't have the issue of it looks good on me or it doesn't look good on you, because you already know, even before you get to the shop to shop something, you already know what to fit your body type, and it will help your shopping easier and make you look good, and you spend less because you will not buy clothes that you wouldn't wear because they don't look good.
Guys, scan the barcode on the screen to get a free style consultation with Miss Yudee, courtesy of Leadway. Yeah. So, you're a fashion brand strategist and a stylist. So now, how do you? And this is, you are at the business end of this line, right?
Yeah.
So how do you make money from this?
Okay, so when I started out styling, for like the first year, I wasn't making money. And I was going to, just stop because it seemed like it seemed like it was just something I was doing on the side. It was a hobby. And then friends would have shoots and they'll call me because they know like I would make it work for them. And it was at that point I realized that I can't be helping other businesses make money and then I'm making like zero from something I could make money from. So what I started to do, or what I did at that point was I made it official. I made it known to my friends because they were my first customers. So I'll tell them, I would style you for this. This is what I would charge on a regular day. But you guys are getting friends and family discount of this percentage. So what that started to do for me was when people ask them, how much does Isabella charge? They would give them the actual price because they know that there is a price tag on it. And then they can say, oh, I can ask her if you can use my discount or, she can give you a discount. So like that was the first thing I had to do. I had to realize that as much as styling was something I enjoyed doing, a hobby, whatever, I had to make money because, you have to live and you need money to do that. So that was the first thing I did. And then I started to reach out to clients. You can't survive on just family and friends eventually. So I started to reach out. Sometimes I would send messages to photographers and videographers. This is something I'm currently working on. I did a mood body proposal and I sent it out to a few photographers and videographers to say, I have this idea. It's really amazing. I want us to work on it and we can pitch it to this brand. So I'm coming with my team to the brand and definitely they're going to pay us for it because it's going to be really good when we're done. So I think, like you said, audacity, really putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Because money is not going to come to your house to knock on your door.
Nope.
You have to go out to chase, exactly, you have to go out to chase the bag. So when you know that this is a skill that can bring something to the table and you know that you need what it's bringing to the table, it helps you really go out.
Okay, so tell me something here. In this entire journey of yours, right, trying to make something out of what you have, obviously there have been points where you're like, man, I'm not
done.
Is this really what I want to do? And there've also been points where you're like, yeah, So what has been those points, or what have been those points that you're thinking like you want to quit?
Okay, so I think birthdays come with a wave of that, right?
Birthdays.
Yes, they do.
I don't have birthday blues.
It's a thing.
I think it's a thing.
It's a thing. So I think my last birthday was probably the point I felt like I can't be putting in 20 hours of work and my bank account is not reflecting that. Like maybe I should just go get like a 9 to 5.
When's your birthday?
December.
So this was December 23?
Yeah.
Really?
December, it was a thing. And then I felt like my portfolio was like not what I wanted it to be, considering like how long I'd been doing stuff and how much stuff I'd done. So it was just I think it was just a birthday reflection because like when we went out that night and everything, it just cleared off.
You just needed some alcohol. It's also that.
But yeah, I think birthdays just really come with that.
Guys, scan the barcode on the screen to get a free style consultation with Miss Yudee, courtesy of Leadway. So you own a brand as well, right?
Yes, I do.
What's the brand?
Stew Signature.
So what does the brand do?
So we sell clothes, shoes and stuff, our own personal things that we bring in, and then of course the ones from fashion brands. So aside the ones that we sell on our own, we also stock ready to wear from other brands as well. So it's like a middle point between me and the other people, and then of course there's also my product that I share as well.
Okay, so so can you share with us some of your wins, your highest points?
My highest points in fashion or generally, I would say when I receive emails, for example, I mean, and this is just personal to me, when I receive emails and people want to work with me, sometimes I go back and I read the things that they say. I mean, it's more like they're toasting me at this point because I'm like, am I really, I know there's this imposter syndrome sometimes that comes where you're thinking to yourself that all these things I'm even doing, does it really matter?
Yeah.
Because of the kind of the line of business that we're in, sometimes when you go to places and people introduce themselves and, there's always that, especially for people who are not really exposed to social media and all those stuff. They'll say, oh, fashion. They don't look at it the same way that they look at
A banker or a doctor.
or a lawyer or something.
Yeah.
And I worked in banking before, and I know when I go and I introduce myself, I know the way people looked at me then and when they look at me, when it's fashion. But I would say that when I receive these emails for work and stuff like that, it's kind of like a further reassurance of the work that I'm doing and the people that, because I mean, even ice cream, not everybody likes it. And so it further buttresses that passion or the need for what I'm doing to the people who need it.
Yeah.
So that's why when she spoke about niching down and people, at the end of the day, those people that you niche down to are your actual people because they're the ones that understand the value that you're bringing and will pay premium price for it as well because they understand that.
Okay, so we're going to take a little detour and play a little game, right?
Okay.
2 truths and 1 lie.
Who's telling the truth?
So you go first. Tell us 2 truths and 1 lie, and we'll have to guess the lie.
Okay. My favorite color is black. I don't like vanilla ice cream. I prefer books to movies.
Wow, this is wow.
So between the ice cream and the books, the truth is that you like black.
Okay.
I think you like black.
Yeah, so ice cream.
I think you lied about the ice cream.
Yes, actually.
Yes, because it's easy to tell you like books. So you prefer books to movies?
Yes, I do.
Well,
Wow.
yeah.
I mean, books are more fun. You create your own world.
Well, you're right.
With them.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yudee?
So 2 truths and 1 lie. I suck at lying, but let me try. 2 truths and 1 lie. I'm the only girl in my family. I'm my dad's favorite. And I like vanilla ice cream.
Did you say you're the only girl and you're your dad's favorite?
Yes.
I think the ice cream is a lie.
Actually.
That I like vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
So you're not the only girl.
Is that your final answer?
If you're the only
Yes.
girl, you're your dad's
You're not the only
favorite.
girl. Exactly. So you're not the only girl.
I'm the only girl.
So you're not your dad's favorite.
See, I told 3 truths. I didn't know what to lie about.
Absolutely. Okay.
Wow.
I kept thinking, what can I lie about?
So all of them are true.
All of them are true.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in the history of playing this game, we have somebody that has disagreed the entire, that has missed the entire point.
I kept thinking about it. I was like, I can't think of a lie right now. But yeah.
Okay, so do you have any questions for her, Isabella?
Yes. I do.
Shoot.
Were you thinking about it before?
Okay, so I think I started following you after COVID.
Oh, that's
right?
long.
Yeah. Oh,
It's always good to meet some long time.
It makes me feel good
Yeah.
because that's like the beginning.
yeah. I started following you after COVID, and I see the consistency. And honestly, first of all, it's something I really admire because it takes a lot to constantly put yourself out there every single day. But so I'm just really curious, what's like the challenge behind doing that every time? Consistently putting yourself out there, and not just. I mean, it's one thing to put yourself out there and not give like excellent results, but put yourself out there at your best points, right?
First of all, I'll say thank you. Secondly, I would say that I see it as a real job. And the same way I'm grateful for the fact that I worked in banking because it really gave me resilience and discipline in a way that I'm someone who goes to places early. For example, I was supposed to be here by 12. I got here at 11:17. It's just, I've been able to do it every single day that regardless of how I feel in that day. For example, today I wasn't feeling so good. But because I have to be here, that's how I see it. So it's no more, I don't see it as a choice or something I have to do or not do. It's something I have to do every day. When you wake up every day, this is something I have to do every day. So no matter what happens in that day or what the difficulties are, I just do it. Because I don't like to fail too. I mean, I wouldn't want to do something and then fail at it. I would really beat myself up. I'm the one who gives myself the highest, flog down and everything. And so because I have to do it, I have to do it. And it's a full-time job and I take it seriously. That's the easiest answer I can give.
Guys, scan the barcode on the screen to get a free style consultation with Miss Yudee, courtesy of Leadway.
Yeah, thank you.
So from what you just said, I think that this is something that a lot of people need to understand. Not everybody would do it, but I feel like if you have an opportunity to do a 9 to 5, you should do it, because 9 to 5 will give you a certain level of discipline and structure
Yeah.
that you need to actually run your own business. Because I did 9 to 5 for after school, first semester after school, I started summer jobs. I did summer jobs every time up until NYSC, up until I finished NYSC and I got a proper 9 to 5 job. So I've had that structure, and that structure actually helps with longevity. You take yourself seriously, you take your work seriously, you'll be able to deal with deadlines. It's just a whole package. So not everybody would have that chance, but they should focus on developing structure and discipline towards their business. Okay, so that's my own tip, Sha. So what tips can you give for people out there who are trying to get into your industry, trying to do what you do, and can't seem to get like a hold on it? Sorry.
So the first thing I would say is, be audacious. You have to go for it.
Audacious.
You have to go for it. It's not going to come to you in your house. Yes, some people are lucky and something just happens and you find yourself out there and, you're doing great. But sometimes you really have to stand up and chase that bag, right? You have to really put yourself out there. You have to knock on as many doors as possible. There's something I always tell myself. If I need to get 10 yeses, I have to send out 50 requests, at least 50 requests, because you're going to get some no's along the line.
A lot of no's.
The more requests you have out there, the more chances that you'll get a yes. And then another thing I would say is, you don't always have to start out big. You don't always have to start out, with the 6-figure, 7-figure cash and check on your table. But those small wins or those small start outs that you get, they end up propelling you at the end of the day. So if where you're at right now, you find something that you can do and put your skill and everything on the table, and it might not look like the dream job that you have, put yourself in it and be excellent. Don't say like, oh, because it's not the title that I want. It's just an admin lead, so I don't have to show up. Show up at every point, because there was a job I got recently and it was the person I worked with in 2020 that referred me for that job, and I didn't even have to do the most to get it, right? So show up at every point that you can, and then the bag will come eventually.
Okay, great. So Yudee, in line with the business, right, with the actual business, I wouldn't say business, in line with fashion and styling, the actual practice of it, what advice would you give to anybody who's trying to be a fashionista or a fashion content creator or a stylist in terms of the actual skill set of it?
So I'd say, first of all, you need to know that that's what you want to do to begin with.
Yeah.
Not because someone else is doing it, because, I also teach content creation, and I see some people, they're so excited about the end result, and they don't really care about the process.
Yeah.
But they forget that the process is what makes the end result. And just like delayed gratification, there's stuff ahead before you get to the enjoyment. But I feel like everybody just wants to get to that part of it and forget the process that it takes. So when you see the people who you want to be like, it just doesn't stop at trying to be like them. You need to also know what's the work or what's it going to take for me to get to that point, and be willing to put in that work. Like I said, excuses are excuses. I don't like to say sorry, not because I don't like to apologize, but I'd rather do what would make me not apologize than, give an apology. So to learn what the basics are, learn what you need to do or what you have to do to get to that point, and then forgive yourself by taking it slowly, a day at a time, because sometimes people see people all the way there and they just want to get there immediately. I've been blessed when 2024, and I would say I started in 2020. And sometimes when I sit back and I look at how far and the many number of brands and names I've worked with in the industry, I tell myself that I've really come a long way, and that's because I'm not afraid of work. Even when I pitch myself to people, I tell them, work, if it's for work, I will not be tired. Nobody's obituary ever read, died of hard work. You would work, you would rest, but you need to work. So that work is very important. I feel like not a lot of people talk about it because everybody just gets carried away with the glamour and the money and everything, and don't understand that it takes sleepless nights and a lot of things to do, to get to that point. So I would say be consistent, keep to your word. That's one of the things that I hold myself. If I say I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. It's easy to change my no to yes than change my yes to no. If I've said yes, then I'm going to get it done. So people need to also know that's who you are, because even when they're going to recommend you, they're not just going to recommend you because you said so. It's going to be your track record of work that you've done. And be nice to people too as well, because I realize a lot of people go to places and you just assume that you should get things like that. But sometimes it could just be good morning or how are you doing that you had with somebody else, and they'll be like, oh, I like this person. So yes, you need to know who you are. I know who I am in Christ, and then say, a man that is diligent in his work, he will stand before kings. And so, yeah.
Okay, so give the young or rising stars or upcomers tips on how to learn. Like sometimes it's one thing to have natural talent, right? It's another thing to learn the skills. So how do they learn? What can they do to learn on a budget?
So Google is free, and there's such a wide range of information on Google, and of course the people that you also follow that you like I said, you can follow them closely and study what they do. You can also ask questions. I say this because even if you see somebody popular, turn on post notifications on their post. Make sure that every single person that posts on social media, within the next 5 to 7 minutes of posting that content, they're with their phone. So in that moment, be among the people that will say, okay, I'll turn on post notification for this person that I want to learn something from. And immediately this person puts out a post. I want to be among the first set of people. If you do that consistently for 30 days, that person is going to recognize you. And if you continually engage with their content, reply their stories and stuff like that, the day you have a question to ask, I'm sure that they'll respond to you. And even if the people that you want don't respond to you, reach out to other people. And then there's Google, like I said. There's no question in this world that you ask Google that somebody has not asked.
Yeah.
As stupid as how to boil an egg, people have asked those things. So what are the questions you have? If you don't have anyone around to ask, Google them. And when those things come out, read them, study them, go back, practice them. Because most people learn and take a lot of courses and they don't practice it. So at the end, they'll be like, oh, I learned this thing, but I didn't really learn. Mostly because they just want to tell someone that, oh, I took a course that, Miss Yudee was doing. Not because they really learned, what it was about. So if you do those things and you practice them, we don't look like how we were a year, 2 years ago. I mean, if I look at the videos I did 2 years ago, I'm like, please delete this. I'm like, delete this thing. There's always room for growth. So just start. When you start along the line, you will learn what you don't like, what you like, what can be corrected. And like I said, Google is your number one friend. And Google won't say no as long as you have data.
And also YouTube. Because
yes.
That's how I learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you guys so much for sharing. This was fun.
It was.
My name is Ilozunam, and this has been Level Up. I'll see you next time.